anything like this.
Investigation. Crews in British Columbia fighting the province's largest ever wildfires say it may be easier to contain the flames by allowing parts of the fire to keep burning. The new strategy means BC's wildfire service will focus on saving homes and infrastructure instead of trying to extinguish all the flames.
We're not expecting any rain, high temperature, low humidity.
Communities in Quebec are facing voluntary evacuations, some just days after returning home, as the province expects around 40 wildfires currently contained to burn out of control again. Today, on the summer solstice, a day that holds spiritual significance for many Indigenous communities, there were moments of reflection coast to coast. On the shores of the St. Lawrence in Montreal, Mohawk traditional song and dance played out. Toronto hosted a sunrise ceremony, and drum beats echoed through St. John, New Brunswick. For the King's representative in Canada, the journey to reconciliation is deeply personal. CTV's Judy Trinh spoke to Her Excellency about that path.
I think I'm going to stay here all day.
Canada's first Indigenous Governor-General sewed her own clothes as a teenager. Now she's using her crochet skills to amplify a national mission.
We must never forget the trauma and the pain that has been experienced by Indigenous people throughout the colonization process.
Knotting together red yarn with a Métis artist to symbolize the path to reconciliation.
Each country is a weaving of communities. That's what they mean to me. And when you take some of those strings out by excluding them or whatever the case may be, you lose the integrity of that weaving.
This project was inspired by survivors of residential schools. After thousands told their stories to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it drafted 94 calls to action. 8 years later, only 13 are complete. In a conversation with CTV News, Mary Simon urges patience.
People felt it was a project, but it's not that. It's a lifelong commitment to work together to rebuild.
There is much to repair. This year's wildfires revealed the stark inequalities many First Nations still face.
There is a need to build better infrastructure for our communities in remote regions, for day-to-day living, running water, services for health, education.
Reconciliation also involves marking progress. On this National Indigenous Peoples Day, more than 30 leaders who uplifted their communities were recognized, including these Blackfoot elders from Alberta who helped the country understand their culture.
I don't think we can ever retire because we have to repair the damage that we've done, especially through residential school, to Indigenous knowledge.
The commitment of a new generation was also celebrated.
We're just starting to open the door, and we're at a time now where people are willing to listen and willing to engage.
We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep trying to make things better for not just Indigenous folks, but for all Canadians.
The thread of reconciliation only hold if woven together. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up after the break. Canada's women's soccer team is trying to put a bitter dispute with the sport's national governing body behind as it prepares for the World Cup. The extravaganza hosted by Australia and New Zealand kicks off next month, and the Canadians are hoping to return with the championship. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
29 days until the Women's World Cup kicks off down under, and for the reigning Olympic champions, expectations are high.
We know in ourselves that we can achieve that, and we just have to go out and do it.
Several members of Canada's women's national team took to the pitch in Toronto today, gearing up for what they hope will be a deep World Cup run.
We're going into it hungry to win it. It's not a negative pressure, it's all positive pressure. Just means that it's worth it, and it's what you're striving towards.
While the team tries to focus on the field, there have been plenty of distractions, namely the ongoing labor dispute with Canada Soccer.
This team comes back to standing for what we believe in and being able to work together to fight for what's right.
The women have been without a labor deal since the last one expired at the end of 2021. They've reached an agreement in principle with Canada Soccer on compensation for 2022, but other issues still need to be resolved. something they are hoping happens before they leave for training camp. It's been a very public fight, but it's brought the team together.
Because of all this, it's made us stronger. It's brought us together because, you know, at the end of the day, the only people you can really trust and count on are your teammates, are the people who are fighting for the same thing besides you day in and day out.
Canada heads to Australia and New Zealand ranked 7th in the world, and while the roster won't be announced until July 9th, it will be a mix of young players and veterans like Christine Sinclair, trying to add a World Cup to an already full trophy case.
We have the experience, we have the knowledge of veterans, but we also have the flair and all the good things that come with the younger players as well. So now putting that together to go and win a World Cup.
The players leave Monday for Australia's Gold Coast. They'll have just over 3 weeks to train together before their first match against Nigeria, July 20th. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead. Someone, somewhere in Canada, is $70 million richer tonight, but may not even know it. And as CTV's Adrian Gabriel reports, there are just days left to claim the prize.
A multi-million-dollar mystery. $70 million.
I know. It's a lot of money.
You want to see? Nearly a year ago, someone struck Canada's Lotto Max jackpot. There's one problem. No one has turned up with the golden ticket, and the window to do so is quickly closing.
1 week from today, a $70 million Lotto Max ticket from the June 28th, 2022 draw will expire.
There's been other large prizes go unclaimed. $15 million once in BC, $5 million in Northern Ontario, though this jackpot is at a whole other level.
This will set a new Canadian lottery history record. I really don't want that record to happen.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
The potential payday has sent some Lotto players to troll in desperation for the missing millions.
Yes, my husband told me about this ticket and to check everywhere to make sure I find it, but I didn't.
No luck.
No luck.
The winning Lotto Max numbers were picked and purchased in Toronto. The Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation knows the exact location, but few other details.
The last time there was any activity on the ticket was when it was purchased.
People who think they may have lost the winning ticket can contact the OLG to answer a series of security questions, including where they bought the ticket. So far, 1,500 people have tried and failed.
Potentially someone could have thrown away that ticket. You never know.
OLG spokesperson Tony Batanti has handed over $3 billion in winnings to Canadians. He now hopes to add to that total.
And I live in a world of odds, randomness, and chance. So I still think that there is a chance that someone's going to come forward and beat the odds.
If claimed, it would tie the single largest Lotto win in Canadian history. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
We will all be checking under our seat cushions tonight. That's a snapshot of this Wednesday, the first day of summer. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.